Hello viewers, welcome to GenZ podcast, and we're here today with the most delighted, beautiful young mama. May we know you?
Okay, so I'm like Nigerian one personality.
Okay.
I'm Oluwabukola, and it's Buki for short, which is actually the most favorite name. I'm also known as Ndidi and also Hadiza too. So whichever one works for me, yeah.
Really Nigeria in all one parts. So Nigeria, you hear that we can't divide, huh?
Oh yeah.
So today on our podcast, we're going to talk about parenting, because people are now having a lot of ups and downs with raising their children. It's not like before the olden days, so this is like a new era. And I'm here to ask this beautiful young mama how she's managing. Listen viewers, she doesn't have 1, 2, 3, 4. So please, I just want to know, or the audience wants to know, how are you managing?
Okay, actually it has been a journey, and a very good one at that.
Yes.
But I got to understand that raising kids in the century we find ourselves has to do with understanding a child's intelligence,
yes,
their mental health, and individual differences. Because you could have 4 or 5 kids, but they don't reason alike. They're different.
Very well so.
So it's been overwhelming, I would say, from carrying the baby in the womb, and then you're anticipating, to give birth to your little one. And then you go to the labor ward and you see other women shouting to push the baby out, and then you bring the baby to life. Then nurturing that little soul, you find out that you don't grab enough sleep as you did before the baby came.
Yeah.
And then you wake up in the night, want to check if the baby's breathing and so on. And then there's teething stage. It's a lot. It's a lot. But a very beautiful one, I must say. A beautiful one that every mother wants to experience.
Of course.
Yeah.
The journey is not like a straight way line. There are ups and downs.
Yeah.
So like I know your girls are teenagers. How are you managing with the teenagers' hormones and all the ups and downs? How are you coping with that?
Yeah. Okay. On this part, I would say my upbringing actually helped me. Yeah. Kudos to my mom. She did a great job on us.
Kudos to mom out there.
Yeah, mom, we did well.
Yeah.
So it actually helped me to understand. I, as a parent, I try to put myself in the child's shoe.
Of course.
So we know teenagers we have growing up now. There's this cultural shift.
Of course.
Like a child, okay, you can tell a child that you must put on long dresses while going out.
Yeah.
A lady must not go naked. But then she goes outside and see that her friends are putting on skimpy clothes. It's like what is mom saying?
Yeah.
And then she becomes like the odd one out. She's feeling like, oh, she's not accepted in the society,
yes,
and all that. But when you begin to make your child understand that you're beautiful the way you are,
yes,
you give them the moral value they need as children. Teenagers is a whole lot of work. I must tell you. And with this technology thing and all, my dear, you will be like, don't touch the phone, you shouldn't be on phone all the time. And it's like, oh no, I have to do something on TikTok, I have to do on Facebook. And then you're trying to balance it with the child's study and not seeing something you don't want them to see in that space. You understand, technology space. But I must say, well, we're trying.
We're trying. All mothers out there, we're trying. And the boys?
Yeah, the boys too are. Yeah, the boys are good. They are good boys. They are boys that don't stress me. But then it's not 100%. Trust me, we can't do this without the shouting part.
Of course.
But sometimes I ask myself, how do some parents do it? Like me, you hear me shouting in the house. Lady there, don't touch this, don't do that.
But sorry to cut you off. Like I look at this like I've been in Europe for some times. Like we grow up with all the shouting, as you're saying, and all the scolding and everything. But my culture shock in Europe was like, is the children now that are now parenting their mothers, which is like still something like I'm like, wow, Africa is still trying, and the development of a child, as you're talking about, you're scolding the girls, do this, make sure you cover yourself, but they go out there and they see their mates, okay, it's time of, shots and all these things. But then, you try to, okay, how can you go by, to understand them. But in Europe, it's a total different thing. A mother cannot even tell her child this and this and that. You know, instead it's the child that will be telling you.
Yeah, that brings me to something. I had a friend one time. So this friend of mine, she had the opportunity to go abroad with her kids. They were not up to the teenagers' age when they left. So she tried while they were in Africa, you know, everything was going on. But once they crossed the border and went to Europe, it became a new ball game altogether. You know, these kids began to misbehave, and then it looks like the government has a way of, you know, pampering them, and then it makes you look like the enemy. Like, oh, mom doesn't love me, mom doesn't want my joy, I want that, mommy doesn't. And then the kid was misbehaving, you know, any little thing, the kid had called police on the dad and all that. Then they just use that trick on the child. They just, oh, we're going to Africa, let's go for an excursion, let's go and see how Africa is. And they, not knowing that they had planned it. And so in the airport, this child misbehaved. And then the dad gave him a dirty slap. And he was like, what the hell, dad? You raised your hands up. Oh, I'm calling the police. And he was looking, and then he was asking questions in the airport. They, okay, please. He saw a man, he was on uniform, and he was like, please, can I need to call the police. I want to call my dad. And I was like, and he said what? Like, my dad slapped me. What did you do? Oh, I just told my dad. He did, and your dad. So I think Africa has this beautiful way of nurturing kids. I'm telling you, we have it in us. You don't compare a child that is raised in Africa with that raised in Europe.
So true.
For them, their culture helps them. But for we Africans, the way we want to bring up our child, instilling morals in them, I think Africa is just the best place.
So you think Africa is the best place to
it's just, the best place to parent a child.
Though some other people will say, we don't agree, education and, you know, morals and all these things, which to me, I think they don't have the moral, but education, okay. And I think there in Europe, there is nothing like, oh, you know, the respect, greetings, like you wake up in the morning, instead of a child, you know, good morning, mommy, is you that will even greet the child. And I would say, their own, as you were saying, it helps them, but for our African, I think we still have, I don't know, the value intact compared to Europe.
But I still fancy parents, I envy those parents that even while in Europe, it's like the kids left Africa, the family left Africa, but Africa didn't leave them. You see them in their household, they still, you know, the African culture is still there. A kid is still kneeling down, greeting his dad, prostrating, greeting the dad, and they make sure that they try to curb their kids. They don't let the culture, the white man culture, infiltrate what they have, and you see still them grow up to be well, but not in all cases.
Not in all cases, because you know, I would say not in, we are all agreeing, not in all cases, because in Africa a child is for a community, for everybody. Like we can go out, your neighbor will see a child doing something, the neighbor will say, exactly. You know, you get punishment. But in Europe, you don't dare touch someone's child, and again in Europe, you know, the freedom is just too much, and you know, there is a lot of gap, and there is a lot of, you know, the government, you're not the only one that is raising a child in Africa, but in Europe, you're the only one, and the government. Because when you put your values, still the government have something to say on that. And you are not allowed to discipline your child. What do you think about discipline? Is discipline good or bad?
Well, personally, I would say discipline is good. It's the best. Because kids naturally, they love freedom. It's natural with humans. So we love freedom, and then when that freedom comes, we tend to misbehave.
Of course.
So every kid needs to be caught. Okay, for instance, where discipline comes in, your child finishes from the dining table. It is expected that the child clears his plate. But then no discipline, the child can just walk out of the dining, and everywhere is messy and dirty, and then walk out. And I'm like, what? So Africa, we don't. You clear your plate and you clear that of the elders around there and take them to the kitchen.
So true.
I can't imagine a child without discipline.
Like for me, my culture shock was when I was in Europe. Like I went to visit a friend. And this friend, they are intercultural married. The wife is European and the man is African. And you know, I just came from Africa with the respect and everything. And I sit down, you know, they offer me a drink and with the children, okay, sit down. And then I hear a girl upstairs, Daddy, I need water and I need a cup of tea. Where is it? I've been asking you for the last hour. I've not seen it. I was like, what?
Wow.
Is this real?
Wow. Wow.
But when you ask, they say, yeah, that's freedom. So what do you think about that? Is that a good freedom or?
It is not a good freedom because we see what these kids turn out to be. Even the white kids themselves, we see how they turn out. Although I'm not going to say 100% all of them.
Yeah.
We still have those that actually instill discipline in their kids. But I would say that it's very essential to instill discipline. You don't nurture a child and then you just leave them to be free. Because kids will just go there. Everybody wants to do what pleases them.
Of course.
So if a kid grow up with that mentality like, oh, I always have my way, we'll just end up breeding kids and men, women that's going to be bad influence in our society, causing mayhems and all.
Yeah.
So I think discipline is key.
Okay.
Discipline is key.
Now, viewers, you can hear that from one of the most beautiful mothers. Discipline a child is good. So please let us know what you think about that.
Yeah.
Is discipline a child good or is bad? And freedom, is it good or bad for a child? Please let us know, and please send us your comment. What will you want to hear next? And let's please pros to mothers out there. You're doing your best.
You are.
Cheers.
Yes.
Okay, though as a parent sometimes I feel like, I used to think, once you give birth and the children can, go on their own to church or go on their own to errands and can able to cook, that's the end. To my shock, like I have like teenagers, I have like people, girls that have grown, that I realize, no matter how grown they are, they still need guidance, and you need to be there still to guide them. Do you feel that way? Yeah,
actually, the thing is, parenting never stops. We don't stop. That's why you see a mom, even when after our kids are married, she still goes and tell them, I am still your mother, you have to listen to what I'm saying. Yeah. But it's most important when you nurture that child, Like what I try to do is, I try to get my kids involved. Like, your girl child should be in the kitchen while you're in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So when you are not around, the child can actually cook. Then you let them, how would I say now? You let them express themselves freely. Let them know the quantity of salt to add to the food, the quantity of Maggi. Just let them do their thing and taste it. Okay, you should have done it differently this way. Let them learn. Let them make mistakes and learn.
Yeah.
And then there's this thing parents like to escape, which is the sex talk.
Yeah.
I think that is actually very, very important. It's essential to get across to your kids before the society does.
That's very true.
Then when your girl is menstruating or your boys are in the puberty age, they need to understand that, okay, you've crossed this stage of life. This is another new whole thing now. This is how it goes, this is how you do, this is how you act when you're this is how you should react when the opposite gender, comes to you, how you're supposed to act, what you're not supposed to do. Yeah.
But though, during our time, we are even, like scared to talk about it. And even if you go to like parents, mothers, auntie, to ask for something, it's beaten you will get. It's like, look at this girl, you're spoiled. How are you talking about this? How do you want to talk about this? Compared to now that, the society, it's a little bit free. But still, there are people that I think they are still, in there, don't want to discuss anything sexual.
That's I would say, because I'll use myself as a personal example here.
Yeah.
I remember those days I started seeing my period. My mom would tell me that, you are now a woman. If a man touch you like this, you're pregnant. And so, in the school or in church, it's like the boy is sitting there and sitting there, come close to me. I would also add that, before I knew that a woman actually gives birth, was when I was in SS2. I thought it was we had teaching in class, and then our biology teacher was like teaching, the baby forms, and then it comes out. Then I was trying to beat about it, and I'm like, it comes out different. Then I asked my friend, I said, come. Is that the blood comes out? She said, yes. I said, what? You mean baby will come out from that place? I'm not ever giving it to you. So, but this is not the same society.
Yeah.
So I just think our kids should understand that this is how it goes, this is how it is. Don't leave them in the dark, because people out there will educate them.
Of course.
And you don't want them getting bad information. So tell them how it is. Your kids will have urges. It's natural, it's biological. Let them know how to handle it. It's not a sin.
Yeah.
It's part of growth. So they should know, okay, this is it because you're changing. They should understand. A kid went to a mom and she was asking the mom, how do we get babies? How is my younger one going in your womb? So the mom was finding it difficult to actually explain to the child. It was difficult. How do you tell the child that, okay, a man and woman has to come together? So the mom was like, oh, God just put it there.
And then you grow up with your own narrative. And
then God forbid something happens in the future, the girl goes to the party and she doesn't know, maybe she's drugged, and then she begins to vomit. She doesn't even know she's pregnant. She goes to the hospital and the doctor confirms and she's like, pregnant how? Okay, that means God actually put it there. She didn't know that something happened and intercourse happened because the mom had put it in the brain that, oh, God just put it there. So there was no explanation. I think we have gone beyond that. Let's let these kids understand. They watch movies.
They watch now.
And the fact that they're exposed to gadgets. If you see what these kids see online, you'll be amazed what they know.
What they know is not like before us that, they just tell you a story. They are now like to another level.
Those days our birthdays is coming up and mommy is saying, no, I'm going to get you a birthday gift, and then she's getting us clothes and shoes. These days, birthday gift, you see, parents buying computer gadgets for their children, the phones, and they have access to the world. They know what's going on. They have it out there. So if you don't educate your children, somebody's going to affect them negatively. So it's actually good too.
Of course, that's good too. Yeah. Okay. And and the boys, growing up again, raising them, you think, they are all my children. But then you find out all of them come from the same womb, but they have different characters. And sometimes one of the child will do something and you say, how? Is it not the same children you raise? They have their own mindset, their own character. How do you go about that for mothers out there that they don't know how to,
Well, for me, raising a male child and a female child is two different methods. You understand? Because a male should know how to accept his masculinity, and he should know how to flourish in that. There's this whole thing that makes a man a man. So you should let them know that, okay, you're a boy, you're a man. This is what men do. This is what men don't do. A man doesn't hit a woman. I remember when I was still teaching back then in Nigeria. In the class, probably because of my personal experience, but I'm not going to go deep into that. You see a boy hitting a girl. And I'm like, no, boys don't hit girls. You don't do that. No matter what the girl does, report. Do not, no matter how angered you are at the girl's behaving, not the girl. Now, if in the house you're raising a boy and a girl child, and you see the boy, any little thing he hits his sister, as a parent, you quickly stop that. Because a boy that hits his sister, hit his classmate and will beat up his wife. So we want to stop that abuse that happens in society. And the man feels like, oh, I'm a man, because I'm a man, I can hit a woman, I can misbehave. You cop that right in the house. And so that actually helped my pupils in class, because then you see girls, and then girls are like, oh yeah, they said, no beating up, and they misbehave. I saw that. And then you see, but you see, because Mistress said we should not beat girls, and they will come and report, and I'll try to. You don't do that. Don't tempt a man. We are not angels. So don't say because we're not supposed to beat a girl and then you are pushing it to the point where it actually hits you. So I think we should, as parents, try to instill all these morals in children. So we bring up kids that are actually, wonderfully made in society, and those that actually help to better our society.
Thank you very much for that. Now, audience, please send us your input. Let us know what we need to do. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.